The Green Goblin was dead, killed by his own glider in one final, desperate attempt to murder the amazing Spider-Man. Norman Osborn could menace him no more, and though the battle had cost him the first love of his life, for Peter Parker, the nightmare of the Green Goblin was finally over. Or was it? The Osborn legacy of evil would poison Parker's life forever, but right now, there was a power vacuum in the New York underworld. The Goblin's ambition to become the big man of crime had not died alongside Norman. All of Osborn's sinister equipment couldn't simply lie there rusting away. Someone needed to step in to accomplish what the Green Goblin never could, to use his horrifying arsenal to take control. And then, someone did. And for our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, the nightmare of the Goblin began again. The Amazing Spider-Man issue 238, From the Shadows of Evil's Past, reignites this rivalry. People die, but life doesn't stop. Peter Parker juggles his photography job at the Daily Bugle, his strained relationship with the Black Cat, and helping his Aunt May run a senior citizen boarding house, all while still getting in swing time as Spider-Man. It's a hard life, but it's his life. He's got the power, so he's got the responsibility, and sometimes Pete doesn't even need his mask on to get into trouble. Just out on a nice family walk, and all of a sudden the spider sense is tingling. Escaping bank robbers in a police chase nearly give May a real reason to go to the doctor. Holy shit, Peter is furious, look at that face! The cops claim they've got it handled, but clearly, Parker wants a piece of them first. Unfortunately for these Dennis Carradine wannabes, almost killing Peter's parents is close enough. Here comes the Spider-Man leaping from car to car until, with the greatest of ease, Spidey catches up. He kicks the asses of all the bad guys, but they're still in a speeding car, and I'm pretty sure Puny Parker only has a moped license. The vehicle spins out, and one lucky bandit manages to bounce free of the web spinner's grasp. But oh shit, he's coming. Let's get out of here. This guy, this random, plainclothes street punk, is all alone against New York's greatest menace outside an abandoned factory. He's so screwed, dude, but he does have one hope. The thug chucks a smoke bomb, but it's not even pumpkin-shaped. What is this? Amateur hour. Spidey senses his way down, but somehow the thief has vanished. But he's no Mysterio, he's just slipped into the sewer through that manhole cover. Marvel sewers are so scary, dude. Lizards, vermin, Morlocks. Spider-Man can't track the thief in the maze-like tunnels, so he calls it a day, thinking the police can handle one guy. But this thief is the luckiest bastard since the Dice Guy from Killer Moth's crew, because he stumbles upon a secret door. A hidden tunnel miles underground, the air thick with mystery. The thug follows the cold shiver running down his spine as he reaches the end of the line and finds that frightening mask grinning right at him. This lucky bastard has stumbled across the abandoned lair of the Green Goblin. But what's he gonna do with it? Meanwhile, when handing in photos as a day's ass kicking, Peter discovers that the abandoned factory was owned by the deceased Norman Osborn. And man, Peter will never forget a man who's caused Spider-Man more pain than all of his other villains combined. Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin. First enemy to discover Spider-Man's true name, first to murder someone close to Peter's heart, and I'm sorry, but I have to mention, Norman's first evil scheme ever was conning Peter into thinking they were making a Spider-Man movie, but when Spidey turned up, the enforcers just tried to beat the shit out of him. This was Norman Osborn's debut plot. Back with the bad guys, the criminal we now know to be named Georgie hasn't geared up as the Goblin himself. He's instead summoned his boss, a man shrouded in shadows. The head honcho is stunned at Georgie's discovery, and they're going to take everything not bolted down. And when they're done, they torch the place. Parker hears about a fire at the Oscorp factory and dashes over to find nothing but smoke. But the layout of the lair brings bad memories to Peter's mind. He's been in a safe house like this before, a hidden vault of pumpkin bombs, razor bats, gliders and that weird ghost bag thing that he used that one time, all picked clean like meat from a corpse. Once again, just like with Uncle Ben, Peter, failing to act, has endangered the innocent in not pursuing Georgie this morning. He might have unwittingly unleashed an all-new Green Goblin upon the world. When will this kid learn? And that night, in the South Bronx, Parker's premonition comes hauntingly true. I'll get out here, Georgie. You take the empty van and dispose of it. We don't want it traced. Not to worry, my man. Nobody could connect it with you anyways. And old Georgie sure don't aim to get caught, not knowing what I know now. When I'm done with this van, there won't be a clue left. I'm sure there won't be, Georgie. Quite sure. Lower Manhattan, the next morning. I didn't sleep at all last night because I was reading the journals of the Green Goblin. The things I've discovered are astounding. To think that an industrialist as respected as Norman Osborn was the Green Goblin. He was mad, of course. Almost totally mad. That much is obvious from my readings. But the mind boggles at the thought of what he's still accomplished. This equipment, these weapons, it's all the work of genius. This incendiary bomb, for instance. It hardly makes a sound when it ignites, yet it releases enough heat to melt through a 3-inch thick sheet of steel. And the gloves, interwoven with microcircuitry which can channel power bursts of several thousand volts. Remarkable. But the thing which fascinates me the most is this jet glider. It's so swift, maneuverable, and quiet. Its controls can be mastered in seconds. This must surely represent a breakthrough in the science of flight. This proves Osborn was insane. He could have made more money by marketing such a device than he ever could have made in crime. Of course, in keeping this to himself, he became the only one in the world to possess such a wondrous device. The only one. The freedom, the power this gives one is exhilarating. Yes, what a stroke of luck that all this fell into my lap. Ah, the plastics in the mold should be fully set by now. Excellent. My new face. It still evokes the madness of the goblin, but the slight changes I made in the mold should produce a more fearsome countenance. And the dyes appear to have fully dried in the costumes that I altered yesterday. Yes, the fit is perfect. This is marvelous. I feel like a new man in this outfit. No, not new. Different. It's easy to see how Osborn became so warped by his second identity. The compulsion to escape the restraints of society is something I can well understand. The trick is to control that compulsion, and not let it control you. Undoubtedly, lack of control was the cause of Osborn's downfall. His forays into the world of crime, his battles with Spider-Man, must have proven too much for his unbalanced mind to handle. Well, Norman Osborn may have died, but his legacy, his power, will live on. And this time, it shall be shaped by a man who knows how to use power. The Green Goblin is no more, but in his place now stands the Hobgoblin. Issue 239. Now that we've seen the new face of evil, it's time we saw what it's capable of. Now strikes the Hobgoblin. But where does he strike? New Jersey. This new goblin is such a smart villain, he cleans up all his loose ends, and he's wise enough to know New York's crawling with crime fighters. At the Jersey Osborn laboratory, Hobby peels out with sweet new wheels. He's been waging a one-man war against Oscorp, but crafty is the Hobgoblin. He hasn't touched any of their official possessions. He's been clearing out every off-the-books secret vault he can find, amassing more and more goblin weaponry from rooms that Osborn employees don't even know exist. These break-ins get the attention of the heir to Norman's legacy, Harry Osborn. Harry knows all about his father's emerald alter ego, so only he could know how dire the situation of Norman's missing munitions truly is. The mysterious Hobgoblin laughs at his handiwork. Soon, He'll have enough weapons to really make the headlines. Cheeky bastard even considers buying Oscorp stock as a little thank you for all the fun toys they provided him. His newest steal, the High Ordnance Battle Van, a drivable secret lair so deadly it'd make Big Wheel blush. But Hobby still isn't satisfied. Only a scant few safe houses left to raid, and then no one, not even Osborn's old enemy Spiderman, will be able to stop him. And just where is our web-headed hero? Currently, Spidey's visiting the hospital, but for once it's not his attention-seeking aunt that he's there to see. First, the black cat clings to life after an altercation with Dr. Octopus. And second, Madam Web from the hit movie Madam Web is here recovering from her last jaunt with the Juggernaut, bitch! Madam Web's had a tough time with drugs, and I'm not talking about Sydney Sweeney. Look at this woman, Sony actually thought she'd be able to carry her own movie. You know when you visit your nan or something, and you only really do it so you don't feel guilty for not visiting her? Spidey does that here because the radio warns of the Oscorp break-in, and Peter goes right out the window. He was only visiting her for like 2 minutes, bit nasty really. Spider-Man knows that Norman's weapons are out there, and he of all people understands the damage they cause. Also, he kinda started this mess by not hunting Georgie through the sewers. Hang on, was that a Stephen King reference? For once, the Daily Bugle actually helps Spidey. Say what you want about Jolly Jonah, but he's on the ball with current events. Peter learns all he needs, and now he's really shitting himself. This page is for all the ladies in the audience. Peter doesn't need pointy ears and a cape to detect what's been going on. The punk who escaped him must have found one of Norman's old armories, and either he himself or a partner must be raid and goblin gear from all across the city. But how could the robber know where the other lairs are? Unless Osborn must have kept a journal full of his little green life story, and if Norman was crazy enough to write down all his own secrets, he probably also wrote down Peter's. This new threat could very well know the name of the man behind the mask. Move it, Spidey, move it. The grim thing is, before he went nuts, Osborn was actually quite the successful businessman. He owns property all over the city, so Spider-Man's gotta slowly work his way through every single one. But all he finds is how far behind this new mystery villain he really is. It's always in the last place you look. The final property on Peter's list is this old theatre. It's been abandoned for years, but that little stage door light doesn't lie. And neither does the spider sense. Finally, we come face to face with the hideous Hobgoblin. Uh-oh, thinks Hobgoblin. It's too early in his criminal career to clash with this cobwebbed cretin. Rather than risk capture, Hobgoblin blasts a barrage at the wall crawler, hops on his glider, and gets the hell out of there. That cursed wall crawler doesn't make it easy though. Hobby's still new at this, so Spidey catches up pretty damn quickly. The creepy crawly crusader is just too good. He effortlessly dodges an overstuffed pumpkin bomb and almost clobbers the villain with the debris. Clearly Spider-Man's more formidable a foe than Hobgoblin thought. Spidey won't let this foe fly off, so the new goblin cuts loose. Hobgoblin hasn't just stolen Osborn's weapons, he's upgraded them. Razor bats sharper than ever slash at Spidey, his arachnid agility barely keeping him in one piece. And now Spidey's done playing around. He anchors himself to the ground and yanks Hobgoblin out of the sky with a web line. Hobgoblin is down. Injured? Is it already all over for Spidey's frightening new foe? Oh no, it's Hobgoblin who has the last laugh. His finger blasting zap weapon ignites a gas main beneath the battlefield. The whole street could burst into flames if it's not stopped. Spider-Man forgets about the Hobgoblin and goes to save the day. But the cost is losing track of the Hobgoblin. Escape is not victory. Hobgoblin's been humbled by the pure power of Spider-Man. How, he wonders, did the Green Goblin stand up to the wall crawler's might? He must have had some way. And that secret too shall be the Hobgoblin's. Never again shall he be made a fool. He's gonna find Norman Osborn's secret source of strength, and he's gonna use it to squash Spider-Man once and for all. That arachnid antagonist has a brief break from the newest glider flying threat, but it's not long after, in Amazing Spider-Man 244, that Halloween once again comes early. Looks like crime isn't done making Oscorp its bitch. Now its regular officers are being attacked, and its shareholders are bound and gagged tighter than Black Cat on date night. Someone is out to ruin Osborn Industries. And Spider-Man is very interested in finding out who. This could have been the Hobgoblin, but the MO is all wrong. This time a crew of armed goons held the stockholders hostage and only went through their files. Still, better safe than sorry. Spidey visits his friend on the force, Gene the Wolf, for the inside story. He doesn't find Gene, but he finds the info he's after. These perps were after records of where Oscorp stored their chemicals, not weaponry. Maybe it wasn't the Hobgoblin after all, but then, why would I include this issue in the Hobgoblin video? Oh shit, questions for later, because there's a robbery in progress at the pier, right outside an old Osborn chemical warehouse. Either Oscorp is the unluckiest company on Earth, or there's more to this than Spidey knows. Like any good spider, he follows the thread. A crew of well-armed criminals are at war with the police, but they better look out. Here comes the Spider-Man. These punks are bang in the middle of a chemical heist when Spidey drops in to say hello, but that webbed freak is just one guy. We can take him. Let's get him, fellas. Ooh, yeah, that didn't really go to plan. The getaway driver, face masked in shadow, witnesses his crew getting their asses handed to them, but he doesn't flap it. His razor bats flap for him. A swarm of the flying daggers dart at Spidey, who barely avoids the blades thanks to his spider agility, so yeah, turns out Hobgoblin is involved after all. And just to clear up any doubt, you can't go wrong with a pumpkin bomb. One of Hobby's grievous grenades turns the warehouse into an inferno, and when the almost stolen chemicals ignite, this place is gonna go down faster than Black Cat on date night. Spidey can't save the goons and stop the driver, and of course, we know what our hero chooses. Oh dude, spider tracers, I love when he uses these. Peter sticks one to the escaping lorry before he rescues the guys who were just trying to kill him. And Jesus, the driver proper GTA's his way the hell out of there. Look at the mess left in his wake. Those guys and Spidey are all ashes, aren't they? Nah, this is Spider-Man we're talking about here. He kept the thugs safe from the flames by entombing them in his trusty webbing. So now, his only problem is the Goblin. But dude, how crafty is the Hobgoblin? The driver has the semi shed its outer shell and he escapes in the previously stolen all-purpose battle van, also escaping the Spider Tracer's scheme-spoiling signal. So when Spidey catches up, all he finds is frustration. Don't ask where Hobgoblin got this weird little robot driver from. I assume he stole it from Norman Osborn. Once again, the new Goblin gets away clean. Or did he? One of the abandoned thugs, scorned after being left for dead by the mastermind, reveals that only one man knew the contents of the boxes they were stealing. A man named Lefty Donovan, a small-time thug with big-time ambitions. Hours later, at a recently rented summer house in a remote area of Long Island, hidden electric eyes are tricked. Automatic gates open to admit the heavily loaded van. How did it go, Donovan? Did you get the material? Piece of cake. I got the chemicals and the rest of the boys took the dive, just like you planned. Spider-Man even showed up, just like you suspected he might. But I used the stuff you gave me and I lost him. I wish I knew how you did it, sir. It's really quite simple, Donovan. Just a matter of getting to know your adversaries and planning how best to humble them. With the compounds you've secured for me, humbling Spider-Man will become even more of a piece of cake than it is now. Those chemicals will give me the full physical power which the original Green Goblin possessed. With such strength at my command, Spider-Man will be powerless to stop the Hobgoblin. Donovan was just the middleman, but Spidey doesn't know that. Looks like it doesn't matter either, because the cover to issue 245 has Spidey finally ripped the mask from his foe's face. Is this curtains for the Hobgoblin? Hey, if the Goblin can recruit helpers, so can Spider-Man. The office of District Attorney Tower has an unscheduled appointment. Spider-Man understands how much of a threat the Hobgoblin is becoming, so he goes to the District Attorney to try and get the full scoop on his main suspect, Lefty Donovan. Only Spider-Man's shitty reputation bites him in the ass. Nice one, Jonah. DA Tower refuses to hand over sensitive case files to the masked man because he can tell Spidey's only given half the story. Peter can't reveal exactly what Hobgoblin's up to without incriminating Norman Osborn as the Green Goblin, a secret that would destroy Peter's mate Harry. As usual, looks like Spider-Man's gonna have to solve this problem alone. Meanwhile, the Goblin's safe house, a man shrouded in shadows, may have finally recreated Norman Osborn's body-enhancing Goblin formula. Or not. The green goop blows in his face, the Goblin concoction sears the man's skin as the volatile chemicals set his safe house ablaze. Luckily, another mysterious figure pulls the fool free from the fire, before retreating into the inferno to hide evidence. The house and seemingly the second man go up in flames, leaving only the disfigured, devastated, half-dead wannabe chemist barely alive. And for 3 weeks, an unidentified man lies comatose in a Long Island medical centre. 3 weeks is a long time to lie abed, long enough for bed sores to form and muscles to weaken. In a normal man... What happened to me? I remember an explosion? Bandage? Must be in some hospital. That's crazy. I don't need a hospital. I feel fine, just a little lightheaded. Have to get out of here. But where is he? The chart on my bed listed me as John Doe, so they must not know who I am. That's good. Let's keep it that way. Sorry, friend, but I'll need those clothes of yours. With any luck, that orderly will be found for an hour or so. Now to find some transportation. I wonder what kind of car that doctor drives. Minutes later. Mercedes, not bad. I think I know this route. Yes, 12 miles, and then right through another 5. Shortly. The place is a total loss, so why did I come here? There's nothing that can connect me to it. It was rented under an assumed name, I saw to that. But I had to come here. There's something waiting for me here, but what? Head's still fuzzy. Something down there, under the carpet. Yes, hidden, where no one would think to look. It's all here, waiting for me. Waiting for me to become the Hobgoblin. The Hobgoblin flies once again. No longer a mere mortal, the Goblin formula strengthening the madman behind the mask, with his every heartbeat monitored by a complex computer system, a threat not seen since Norman Osborn impaled himself upon a stake of tin, once again terrorizes the sky. In all these weeks, Spider-Man's hit a dead end in his hunt for Lefty Donovan. Captain DeWolf had sent Spidey to Detective Lou Snyder, but the gruff Flatfoot refuses to show Spidey Lefty's file. This file, right here, the one on the desk, unguarded. I love when characters recognise Spider-Man's a good guy. The cop slyly lets Spidey read all about his prime suspect, and the case on Donovan is closed when he reads that Donovan was in custody during Spider-Man's first fight with the Hobgoblin. Back to square one. But not for long. Snyder runs back in with bad news. Hobgoblin is striking now, demanding Spider-Man face him one final time on a stage where everyone can witness the wall crawler's death. Times Square. Hobgoblin bombards New York's most happening location with all his stolen gear, laughing as he lights New York on fire. Police can't stop him. He zips between bullets at fantastic speed, and even if he did take a hit, his goblin strength would shrug it off. A high-caliber supervillain demands high-caliber ammo. A police sniper takes aim and barely skims the maniac's chainmail, but that was close. Too close. This little pig needs to be educated. Goblin snatches his almost assassin and throws him from the sky. But along comes the spider. The danger here is so overwhelming his spider sense blares. This mythical maniac needs to be stopped once and for all. Spidey and Hobgoblin clash once again, but little does the webhead know the new secret up Hobby's sleeve. Until now, Spider-Man's been fighting a human being with tricky gadgets, so he never expects the sudden sinister strength Hobgoblin hits him with. And it's not just Spidey Hobgoblin hits. He knows how much this wall-crawling cretin loves to play hero, so he launches a great big metal bin at the innocents. Spidey catches the gargantuan garbage can, and even weakened and strained, he's not as vulnerable as Hobgoblin thinks. Spidey redirects a pumpkin bomb back to sender. And it hits home, knocking Hobby loopy and forcing him down atop a cinema showing Star Wars, which is crazy because I read Hobgoblin Mark Hamill's voice. Finally, Spider-Man has Hobgoblin right where he wants him. Spider-Man unmasks the Hobgoblin to find Lefty Donovan. It can't be, it doesn't make sense. until dazed Donovan spits out how he's merely a pawn in the true Hobgoblin's game. And just like that, Donovan has revealed too much. As if activated remotely, his glider locks Donovan into position and rockets away, out of control. The glider kamikazes into a building at terrifying speed, killing Lefty Donovan, and any chance of Spider-Man getting the truth dies alongside him. Spider-Man laments the death, while the true Hobgoblin laughs at it. The hypnotized Lefty Donovan was a successful test run. Now the real Goblin knows Osborn's super strength formula works, and he's got all the time in the world to perfect it. And when he does, it'll be the end of Spider-Man. Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man 85, I actually own this one in real life too. And the threat of the true Hobgoblin returns more powerful than ever. Oh, and Black Cat's feeling a lot better, thanks for asking. Oh, shit, dude. The hatred of the Hobgoblin. Spidey's not just some annoyance to the new Goblin in town. He's mugged Hobby off at every turn, and it's time he paid the price. After the Donovan debacle, the true villain knows his Goblin formula works, so now, after months of just playing at power, the Hobgoblin gets a taste of the true thing. The strength of the Goblin lives again. The power of the original, with the cunning brain of a criminal mastermind, and to prove his superiority over the Green Goblin, tonight, Hobgoblin's going to accomplish what he never could: the murder of Spider-Man. But Spidey doesn't swing alone these days. The boobalicious Black Cat is the Webhead's partner in crime fighting now. But what the hell, Hobgoblin's just gonna have to kill her too. Spider sense tingling. A rain of pumpkin bombs almost blows the cat to bits, and Spidey can guess who's throwing them. Spider-Man's only just found out Felicia doesn't even have superpowers. He doesn't want Black Cat getting hurt. But she's eager to prove to him that she's good enough to swing side by side. Black Cat's the unlucky one this time. Hobgoblin's toys make quick work of her, but now the real fight begins as Spider-Man steps in. Spidey even calls Hobgoblin out for using pawns like Lefty to fight in his place, but Hobgoblin soon proves he no longer needs henchmen when he tears brickwork from the wall and chucks it effortlessly at our heroes. Spidey takes the brunt of the bricks, almost crushed beneath the weight as Hobgoblin giggles himself silly. With Spider-Man down, it's up to the cat. But as I said, Black Cat's only human. Her most savage attacks don't even scratch the Hobgoblin. But then Spider-Man sees a maniac with his hands on the woman he loves. He's probably got raw PTSD from Gwen here, cause Spidey goes nuts. Somehow, even with his enhanced strength, the Hobgoblin is losing. Spider-Man's just too formidable. Hobgoblin cuts his losses and blasts Spidey with the finger zapper, blinding the hero just long enough to get the hell out of there, escaping again to cause mischief and misfortune another day. But now, tensions are running high. Their hatred is reaching boiling point. Whatever history Spidey had with the original Goblin matters no more, because now, this is personal. No way, is that who I think it is? Amazing Spider-Man 249 gives us the business. Millionaire businessman, chief of the Daily Bugle, and my favourite Marvel character, J. Jonah Jameson, stares out of his office window in solemn thought that not even Marla Madison can break him from, because Jonah has a very deadly secret. Jonah is a hypocrite. Despite his hatred of masked vigilantes, years ago, he funded one of his own. His money and bad science transformed mercenary private detective MacDonald Gargan into the sinister Scorpion, a man who's already taken up enough screen time on this channel. Gargan went mad, went on a crime spree, and was stopped by Spider-Man before anyone could link it back to Jonah. But now, somebody has. Jolly J. Jonah Jameson is being blackmailed. And he's not the only one. Harry Osborn, heir to the Oscorp chemical business, tells his best friend Peter Parker about how somebody's discovered the secret of his father's emerald alter ego. And yes, this is the issue with the animal tank top. To be fair to him, Harry's evolved past being the broken boy he once was. He doesn't care about his father's sins anymore, but this tarnishing of the family name could hurt his wife Liz and their unborn baby. He chooses to face his blackmailer, but he won't be alone. Puny Parker steps up. In a swanky New York businessman club, the duo were set to meet their mystery foe, but even though they're early, spider sense is buzzing now, and you'll never guess why. Sick cameo from the man himself, Wilson Fisk, absolute legend mate. But if Big Willie's here, could this mysterious blackmailer also have dirt on the Kingpin? Or is Big Lucky's favourite girl the mastermind behind this blackmail plot? A few more victims turn up, including fashion mogul Roderick Kingsley. Remember him? Spider-Man once saved Kingsley's life from the bloodthirsty Belladonna back in Spectacular issue 43. He was an ungrateful little shit. I wonder why the writer chose Kingsley of all people to include here. Funny pull. People pile into the private room, but Kingpin doesn't make a move. Maybe he really was just here for dinner. Peter has barred entry and Harry has to leave him behind, but Parker's pretty good at crawling his way into places he shouldn't be. Hilariously, every nervous member of the club believes Harry to be the blackmailer. Norman must have been good at making friends because he seems to know every dirty secret of all his peers. And he must have written them down because now their secrets belong to the Hobgoblin. Osborn's journals were chock full of every dirty promise Norman was trusted with, and now these sinners had better pay up if they want their secrets to stay secret. Spidey watches from the vents as every rich man in New York squirms. But J. Jonah Jameson, Mustache, demands that they stand up to Hobgoblin now, but except for him and Harry, the rest of the crew are too incriminated to resist. Shit gets even crazier because Harry jaws Hobgoblin's head clean off, revealing it was all a robot. And to be fair, Roderick Kingsley makes a great point here. One of them could be the Hobgoblin. Good thinking, Kingsley. Maybe this guy's not so bad after all. To kill off everyone who said no, the Hobgoblin makes his entrance. But unfortunately for him, so does Spider-Man. These two always have such cool fights. They rocket through the Gentleman's Club, bombing, zapping and thwipping away. But with so little space to operate, and the Hobgoblin's increased strength, it's not looking good for Spidey. The cunning Hobgoblin's tried and true method of aiming at everybody but Spider-Man works yet again as the webhead plays hero to defend the businessmen. But a bear's pumpkin holds something worse than napalm. A mysterious gas dazes Spider-Man and nullifies his greatest advantage, the spider sense. Dizzy and dazed, Spider-Man tries to throw a spider tracer, but a sudden weakness makes it impossible. Hobgoblin raises his blaster to finally obliterate his arachnid antagonist, but the blast is bottled by a most unexpected ally. The Outlaw, Big Willie, the kingpin of crime, saves Spider-Man's life. Hobgoblin knows all about Fisk's dirty deals, but the big man is so powerful, even Hobgoblin wouldn't dare touch him. Yet. But Kingpin would touch the Goblin, and he in fact does, when he clips the spider tracer to the gliding goon's cape. Maniacs like Hobgoblin are bad for business. Fisk would rather see him behind bars, and so he helps his second most hated enemy, but without a spider's sense to track him. Ending the threat of the Hobgoblin is easier said than done. Issue 250, of course, with the classic cover telling us to steal it. I wonder if anyone ever actually did. Sick art too, hence why I use it for the thumbnail. Spidey can't do shit without his sense to track his tracer, and Hobgoblin knows it. Norman's diary was very thorough, holding every secret rattling around that lunatic's head. Perhaps even the secret of Spider-Man's real name. The ultimate secret. And it could just fall into the Hobgoblin's hands. With his hunt at a dead end, Spider-Man decides to grill the victims of the blackmail scheme for potential info, dropping in hard on Roderick Kingsley. But what could the Goblin possibly have on Kingsley anyway? Has he been lying about thread count or some shit? He's a fashion designer for God's sake, he's practically a nobody. Grim for Spidey, none of the club members talk. If only he still had his spider sense. One cool scene in particular shows J. Jonah Jameson, who has heroically decided he will not be blackmailed by men in Halloween costumes. He's gonna reveal to the world himself his hand in the scorpion. What a man. He's not got spider sense, but Peter still has common sense. He drags out his old mechanical tracer receiver from the days before he could sense them himself. Fix that bad boy up, and it's hello Hobgoblin. And several hours later, Hobgoblin learns what it's like to get raided. Deep in the supervillain secret warehouse lair, their final battle begins. Peter doesn't even need spider sense to kick ass. Hobgoblin's been hounding him for months, a spectre of the past Parker would rather forget. And after all these weeks of deception and subterfuge, Spidey finally gets a great punch in. Spider-Man is pissed. All the Hobgoblin's super weapons and stolen technology can't keep up with the radioactive blood pumping through Peter's veins. But the Goblin didn't get this far to fail here. In desperation, he sets his hidden base defense system to blast Spidey to ashes. Our agile arachnid dodges the blasts, but a stray laser bolt catches Osborn's journals. Hobgoblin's key to a criminal empire goes up in smoke. His supervillain cheat sheet burns away. In horror, in rage, in desperation, he throws a pumpkin bomb at his own guns, and a giant explosion swallows hero and villain. Amazing Spider-Man 251. Endings. The Hobgoblin's headquarters burns around them. Smoke chokes both men in their masks as they struggle to their feet. The journals are gone. All Hobgoblin has left is his hatred and a crowbar. Hobgoblin could beat Spider-Man to death right now, but that would only seal his own fate. This place is coming down fast, so Hobby hops into his stolen battle van and makes his escape, but not before giving Spider-Man a taste of his front bumper. Bloody hell, the authorities got here quick. But there's nothing the NYPD can do to stop Hobgoblin's exit strategy. The van is a fortress, built for speed and power, impenetrable. Hobgoblin rockets away, clueless to the fact that beneath him, clinging to the getaway tank, Spider-Man lives. You still alive? Ooh, I must confess that I am impressed with your ability to survive, even though I deprived you of that uncanny instinct which warns you of danger. Your spider sense. I know you can't hear me out there, but you're wasting your time. Even your incredible strength will prove useless against this windshield. It's constructed of a special reinforced jet-age plastic. You'd need a concussive force equal to an exploding mortar shell before you could even scratch it. Hobby's got no chance of escape with Spider-Man on his ass, but that interloping arachnid is already half dead, not giving a single shit about civilian casualties. Hobgoblin crashes through a pub to wipe the wall crawler off his windshield. And that's it, he's done it. He's finally done it. Done what the original Goblin never could. Hobgoblin has, oh never mind. Spider-Man still lives on. He refuses to give up while this maniac remains free. Even as his muscles scream at him to surrender, he won't. It's his responsibility. Spider-Man's absolutely knackered, and Hobgoblin is so sick of him at this point, he abandons the driver's seat to beat Spider-Man to death with his bare hands, and you know what? He might just do it. Without his spider sense and in such close quarters, Spidey can't dodge the Goblin's onslaught. Oh, if only he had his spider sense. It's back, and just in time. With his head finally buzzing on the right track again, Spidey predicts the Goblin's blows and reminds Hobgoblin why all of Osborn's toys and tricks could never squash the spider. But wait a second, who's driving? While the two masked madmen beat the shit out of each other, the unmanned battle van rockets into the Hudson River. The wheeled fortress sinks into the murk, but that doesn't matter to the Hobgoblin. Despite Spidey's warnings, all the Goblin wants to do now is kill him. Easier said than done. Finally, definitively, Spider-Man defeats the Hobgoblin, but the danger now is drowning in the river. Spider-Man needs to get the Goblin out of here, but to make things worse, the dirty water short-circuited the van's defense system. It's gonna blow. Hobgoblin takes one final shot at killing Spider-Man, dazzling the hero with his finger sparks, but misery, misery, misery. That's what he's chosen, because the voltage ignites the van's built-in bomb. Spider-Man emerges from the depths alone, clueless to what happened to his frightening foe. His searches are pointless. His only clue to the Hobgoblin's fate is a ruined mask floating free from the debris. Wraith-like, it drifts with the current. Is it a trick of the light? Or do its hollow eyes mock Spider-Man? Mock him with some deadly secret knowledge. Hobgoblin is the perfect villain for a mature, seasoned Spider-Man. He takes a threat from Spidey's past, well, the greatest threat in fact, and remixes it into an all-new nightmare. He doesn't just take the Goblin's legacy, he builds upon it and makes it better. He recognises Osborn was insane and he strives to be a better master criminal than his predecessor. Story-wise, he did have that familiar tinge of guilt Spider-Man's so used to. If Spidey had chosen to continue chasing Georgie through them sewers, it's very likely Hobgoblin would never have existed. Spidey is his own worst enemy, isn't he? Hobgoblin's ambition kept up in the game every time he appeared. First he just used goblin gear to terrorise, but then when he realised he couldn't match Spider's strength, he dedicated his capers to getting power of his own. After becoming such a threat, having all these brutal battles with Spider-Man, we still have no idea who the man behind the mask was. Outside of comics, Hobgoblin barely ever gets adaptations because his whole story requires the entire Norman Osborn story to have happened. There's a ton of setup, but that makes him even cooler, because like I said, this man is a threat for a Spidey who knows what he's doing. To challenge a crime fighter as experienced as Spider-Man and to come so close to victory every time puts the Hobgoblin as a top threat villain during Spider-Man's best years as well. Hobgoblin, the quintessential nemesis for a real Spider-Man.